The Deep Space Monitoring Station near Earth's moon was usually quiet at night. Most of the staff worked during the day shift, leaving only 3 operators to watch the countless screens showing different parts of our solar system. John Miller sat at his station, sipping his 3rd cup of coffee, when something unusual caught his eye. "Hey, look at this," he called out to his colleagues. "I'm picking up some weird energy readings near Jupiter." Bill, the senior operator, walked over and looked at John's screen. The readings were unlike anything they had seen before. They showed multiple large objects moving in a controlled pattern, definitely not natural movement for asteroids or space debris. "Call it in," Bill ordered. "This needs to go up the chain." Within hours, the International Space Fleet headquarters was buzzing with activity. Fleet Admiral Robert Davis stood in the command center, surrounded by screens showing the mysterious objects. Scientists and military personnel worked frantically to understand what they were seeing. "Sir," a young communications officer suddenly called out, "we're receiving the signal. It's not one of ours." The room fell silent. Humanity had always wondered about first contact, but no one expected it to happen like this. Admiral Davis walked to the communications station, his face serious but calm. "Can we decode it?" he asked. The officer worked on his computer, running the signal through various programs. It's a distress call, sir. The computer says it's being broadcast on multiple frequencies, like they're hoping someone will hear them." Admiral Davis made a quick decision. "Send out our first contact package. Let's let them know we hear them." The next few hours were tense as Earth waited for a response. When it came, it was more than anyone expected. The aliens managed to convert their message into simple mathematical patterns that Earth's computers could understand. They were refugees running from something terrible. Their fleet of 300 ships carried the survivors of their civilization, and they were stranded in our solar system. The International Space Council called an emergency meeting. Representatives from every space-capable nation gathered to decide how to respond. The debate was heated. "We can't just ignore them," Admiral Davis argued. "They're asking for help. This is a moment that will define humanity." "But what if it's a trap?" Others worried. "What if they're lying?" In the end, humanity's better nature won out. Earth would help. The first close-up images of the alien fleet left everyone speechless. The ships were massive, some as large as small cities. They showed signs of damage, with visible repairs and patches across their hulls. They had clearly been through a long, difficult journey. Earth sent out its first proper response ship, the ESS Hope. Captain Linda Walker commanded the mission, leading a crew of diplomats, scientists, and first contact specialists. As they approached the alien fleet, everyone on board felt the weight of history on their shoulders. The aliens responded to their approach with a series of light signals, guiding the Earth ship to one of their larger vessels. Through careful communication, both sides agreed on a meeting protocol. The first face-to-face meeting happened in a specially prepared chamber on the alien ship. The aliens looked different from anything humans had imagined. Tall, graceful beings with iridescent skin and 4 arms. But it was their eyes that caught everyone's attention. They showed intelligence, fear, and hope. Through a combination of mathematical formulas, simple drawings, and gradually improving translation software, the story became clear. These beings, who called themselves simply the Wanderers, had fled their home system when a hostile force attacked them. Their faster-than-light drives were damaged in their escape, leaving them stranded in unfamiliar space. They had chosen Earth's solar system by chance, hoping to find resources to repair their ships. Instead, they found something much more valuable, a civilization willing to help them. As Captain Walker reported back to Earth, she couldn't help but feel proud of humanity's response. "They're refugees," she said in her message. "They need our help, and we can help them." Admiral Davis, reading her report, nodded to himself. He knew the real work was just beginning. Earth would need to mobilize like never before, but he had faith in humanity's ability to rise to the challenge. The universe was watching. It was time to show them what humans could do. 3 days after first contact, Earth launched its assessment mission. The team included military personnel, engineers, and cultural experts aboard the ESS Discovery. Lead engineer Tom Wilson stood at the ship's viewing window, watching as they approached the massive alien fleet. "It's even more impressive up close," he said to no one in particular, looking at the damaged ships floating against the backdrop of Jupiter. Each alien vessel was unique, showing signs of different architectural styles and purposes. Some were clearly living spaces, while others looked like cargo carriers or manufacturing facilities. Mary Brooks, the team's cultural officer, joined him at the window. "Look at how they've clustered their ships," she pointed out. "The smaller ones are always protected by the larger ones. They've been running for so long they do it without thinking now." The ESS Discovery docked with the Wanderer's main ship. The assessment team wore their spacesuits, carrying advanced scanning equipment. The aliens led them through wide corridors that showed signs of both amazing technology and desperate repairs. Tom stopped at a damaged wall panel, running his scanner over it. "This is interesting," he muttered. "They're using crystalline computing, but they've had to patch it with more basic materials. Some of these repairs look like they were done in a hurry." The Wanderers watched him curiously. Through the improved translation devices, one of them spoke. "You understand our technology." The alien's voice carried surprise and hope. "The basics, yes," Tom replied, still studying the panel. "The principles aren't too different from some experimental stuff we've been working on, just much more advanced." He pointed to a cluster of crystals. "This is your main processing unit, right? But it's cracked. You've been routing around the damage." The aliens looked at each other in what seemed like amazement. According to their experience, Earth should have been too primitive to understand their systems. Yet here was a human engineer not only understanding their technology, but already identifying problems they'd been struggling with. Meanwhile, Mary worked on establishing better communication. She noticed how the Wanderers used color changes in their skin to express emotions, adding this information to the translation database. "Your people have been traveling for 50 years, she asked, trying to understand their story better. "Yes," the alien leader responded, their skin turning the deep blue that Mary now recognized as sadness. "We were a peaceful people. When the attack came, we were not prepared. Many died in the first days. These ships," the alien gestured around them, "these were not meant for such a long journey. They were orbital homes, research stations, cargo vessels. We took what we could and ran." The assessment team spread throughout the fleet, documenting everything. They found advanced medical facilities, hydroponic farms, and schools where young wanderers learned about a home they had never seen. But they also found critical systems failing, patches upon patches holding things together, and a people exhausted from running. Back on the ESS Discovery, the team held their first meeting. Tom spread out his findings on the conference table's display. "Their FTL drives are incredible," he explained. "But they're not just damage, they were sabotage. Someone knew exactly where to hit them to make sure they couldn't be easily repaired." "How long until their pursuers catch up?" Captain Jack Reed asked. "Based on their data, 2 months at most," Tom replied. "But here's the thing. We might be able to help. Their technology is advanced, but sometimes the simplest solutions are the best. We could." Before he could finish, alarms blared through the ship. The captain rushed to the bridge, followed by the others. On the main screen, they saw one of the Wanderer's smaller ships beginning to break apart, its hull splitting at the seams. "Get emergency teams out there now," Captain Reed ordered. "Show them what humans can do in a crisis." As rescue ships launched from the ESS Discovery, Mary watched the Wanderer's reaction. Their skin flickered with colors she hadn't seen before: surprise, worry, and something else. She realized they weren't used to others risking themselves to help. The universe was about to learn something important about humans. They didn't just offer help, they committed to it completely. The real work was just beginning, and Earth's engineers were already forming plans that would surprise both friend and foe alike. Earth's scientists worked around the clock in a converted hangar aboard the Wanderer's main ship. Holographic displays showed the damaged FTL drives from every angle, while dozens of human engineers studied the sabotage patterns. Tom Wilson hadn't slept in 36 hours, but he couldn't stop now. Not when they were so close to understanding the problem. "Look at this," he called out to his team, pointing to a particular section of the drive. "The damage isn't random. Someone knew exactly where to hit them." He zoomed in on the hologram, highlighting several key points. These crystals weren't just broken, they were shattered in a specific pattern. Dr. Anna White, Earth's leading physicist, nodded in agreement. "It's like someone took a hammer to a computer's motherboard. They knew which parts would be hardest to replace." The Wanderer's chief engineer, whose name translated roughly to Blue Star, watched the humans work with growing interest. Their skin rippled with colors of surprise and hope as the humans quickly grasped concepts that should have been far beyond their technological level. "Your understanding is unexpected," Blue Star said. "But even if you can see the problem, the materials needed for repair don't exist in your system. The crystals require specific conditions to grow." Tom smiled, something he'd been doing more often as an idea formed in his mind. "Maybe we don't need to repair them exactly as they were," he said. "Sometimes the best solution isn't the most advanced one." He pulled up another hologram, this one showing Earth technology. "Look, your drives work by creating a bubble of altered spacetime. Our rockets work by pushing really hard against nothing. What if we combined them?" The other engineers gathered around as Tom explained his idea. It was crazy, primitive, and brilliant all at once. The Wanderer's skin showed colors of disbelief and confusion. "You want to attach chemical rockets to our quantum drives." Blue Star's translator couldn't quite capture the mix of horror and fascination in their voice. "Not exactly," Tom said. "We use your damaged drives to create a partial spacetime bubble. Then our rockets to push that bubble. It's like using a rowboat to push a damaged sailboat. Not elegant, but it works." While the engineers debated the possibility, another crisis was developing in the command center. Captain Reed and Admiral Davis were reviewing the latest deep space scans with the Wanderer's military leaders. "They're getting closer," Reed pointed at the faint energy signatures at the edge of their sensors. "The enemy fleet is moving faster than we expected." 2 months just became 6 weeks. Admiral Davis studied the tactical display grimly. "Show me their weapons capabilities again," he requested. The Wanderers brought up images of their enemy ships. The weapons they described made Earth's most powerful guns look like toys. But Davis noticed something interesting. "They rely a lot on energy weapons," he mused. "High-tech, powerful, but—" He paused, thinking. What if we didn't try to match their technology? What if we thought simpler? Back in the engineering bay, Tom's team had moved from theory to practice. They'd connected a small test drive to human-made engines. The hybrid system looked ugly, advanced alien crystals next to sturdy Earth steel, but the initial readings were promising. Power levels at 30%, 40%. An engineer called out, "It's working." The test chamber hummed as the hybrid drive created a small distortion in space. It wasn't as elegant as the original alien drive, but it was working. The Wanderer's colors shifted rapidly between disbelief and joy. Earth's response to the crisis was gaining momentum. Ships from every space-capable nation were launching, carrying materials and workers. The asteroid belt became a construction site as humans converted space rocks into makeshift repair docks. In orbit around Earth, military vessels prepared for battle. They weren't as advanced as the enemy ships, but they carried humanity's greatest weapons: determination and creativity. Admiral Davis stood on his flagship's bridge, watching the activity. "Send word to all ships," he ordered. "Operation Safe Harbor is now active. We have 6 weeks to prepare our defense of these refugees. Let's show the galaxy what humans can do when backed into a corner." The message spread through both human and Wanderer fleets. The impossible task of repairing 300 alien ships had begun, and Earth's deadline was approaching fast. But as Tom liked to say, impossible just means no one's been stubborn enough to do it yet. The next few weeks would prove whether human ingenuity could stand against advanced alien weapons. The universe was about to learn why you should never underestimate a species that had survived its own nuclear age. The asteroid repair docks buzzed with activity as thousands of human workers moved in their spacesuits, converting the rocky surface into makeshift shipyards. Cutting torches flashed against the dark of space, while transport ships brought in more supplies from Earth. Tom Wilson supervised the operation from a temporary control room carved into the asteroid's heart. Dock 3 is ready for the next ship, he announced over the general channel. Bring her in slow. A massive Wanderer vessel, easily the size of a small city, drifted carefully toward the asteroid. Human repair crews had gotten better at moving these giants, but it still took incredible skill. The ship's damaged hull showed the scars of its 50-year journey. Easy, easy. Tom watched the screens as the ship settled into position. Perfect. Lock it down, and let's get to work. Below, hundreds of workers swarmed over the alien vessel like busy ants. They had learned to combine human welding techniques with the Wanderer's advanced materials. It wasn't pretty, but it was strong. In another part of the asteroid field, Mary Brooks worked with mixed teams of humans and Wanderers. She had discovered that their different ways of thinking often led to surprising solutions. See how they reinforced this section. She pointed out to a group of human engineers. They use light and crystal technology. But look what happens when we add simple steel supports. The combination is stronger than either alone. The Wanderers were beginning to show new colors in their skin, colors that Mary now recognized as hope and amazement. One of them, a young engineer, approached her with a question. "Why do your people work so hard for us?" they asked. "You barely know us." Mary smiled. "Because it's the right thing to do. And honestly, we love a good challenge." Meanwhile, aboard the human flagship Freedom, Admiral Davis reviewed the latest defense plans with his officers. The tactical display showed their growing fleet, a mix of Earth's most powerful ships and repaired Wanderer vessels. "The enemy expects to find damaged refugee ships," Davis explained. "Instead, they'll find something new." He brought up an image of their latest creation. The hybrid ships looked strange but threatening. Earth's simple but effective weapons had been combined with Wanderer technology. Where the aliens used pure energy weapons, humans had added physical projectiles. Where they had complex shields, humans had added layers of simple armor. "Sir," a young officer burst into the room. "The first test is ready." Everyone rushed to the observation deck. In the distance, one of the modified ships prepared for its first full power test. Tom's voice came over the radio from his control center. "All stations ready," he reported. "Beginning power-up sequence." The ship's new hybrid drive glowed as it activated. The combination of Earth's powerful rockets and the partially repaired alien technology created a unique effect. A bubble of distorted space surrounded by a visible thrust flame. Power at 40%, 60%, 80%. Tom called out the readings. Full power. The ship moved forward, faster than any human vessel had ever traveled, but with more control than the damaged Wanderer ships had managed in years. Cheers erupted across every channel. "It actually works," one of the Wanderer leaders said, their skin glowing with bright colors of joy. "You did the impossible." Admiral Davis smiled. "We're not done yet. How many ships can we modify in the next 4 weeks?" The work continued day and night. Humans proved they could work in space conditions that even the Wanderers found challenging. They welded in vacuum, repaired in radiation, and solved problems with whatever they had on hand. Tom watched from his control room as more ships entered the repair docks. Each one emerged stronger than before, a symbol of what humans and Wanderers could achieve together. "Time estimate?" Admiral Davis asked during the evening briefing. "We'll have the critical ships ready just in time," Tom reported. It won't be pretty, but they'll fly and fight. The Admiral nodded. Pretty doesn't matter. Strong matters. He looked at the tactical display, where the enemy fleet's position was marked in red. They were getting closer every day. But now, for the first time, the humans and wanderers felt ready. Their combined fleet grew stronger by the hour. The enemy expected to find helpless prey. Instead, they would find humanity's finest hour waiting for them. In the depths of space, the hybrid ships continued their practice maneuvers, their strange new drives lighting up the darkness. They were no longer just refugee ships. They were becoming something new, something that combined the best of both species. The trap was almost ready. Deep space sensors lit up with warning signals. The enemy scouts had arrived at the edge of the solar system, their ships moving like dark shadows against the stars. On the Freedom's bridge, Admiral Davis watched their movements on the main screen. "They're earlier than we expected," he said quietly. "How many ships detected?" 3 scout vessels, sir," the sensor operator reported. "They're being careful, staying just at the edge of our range." The news spread quickly through the repair yards. The deadline they'd feared had just moved closer. In his control center, Tom Wilson gathered his team leaders for an emergency meeting. "We've got maybe 2 weeks before their main fleet arrives," he announced, pointing to the status displays. "We've finished 60% of the ships. That's not enough." One of the human engineers raised her hand. "What if we work double shifts?" "We're already working double shifts," another pointed out. "People are exhausted." Tom looked at the tired faces around him. Everyone had been working 16-hour days in space, pushing themselves to their limits. Then he noticed something interesting. None of them suggested giving up. 3 shifts, he decided, and we focus on the most important systems first. Better to have 10 ships fully ready than 30 half done. The Wanderers watched in amazement as the humans pushed themselves even harder. Workers floated in space for hours, their suit batteries running low, refusing to come in until they finished critical repairs. When one team grew too tired to continue, another immediately took their place. In the makeshift cafeteria carved into the asteroid, Mary Brooks noticed something new. The Wanderers were changing their behavior, inspired by the humans around them. Instead of their usual careful, methodical approach, they were learning to improvise, to take calculated risks. "Look at this," one Wanderer engineer showed Mary. Their skin glowed with excitement as they pointed to a modified shield generator. "We combined your primitive electromagnetic fields with our quantum barriers. It shouldn't work, but it does. It's stronger than either system alone." The breakthrough spread quickly. Every repair team began looking for ways to combine human and Wanderer technology. What they lacked in elegance, they made up for in effectiveness. Aboard the Freedom, Admiral Davis received the first combat readiness reports. The modified ships were performing better than anyone had expected. The hybrid drives gave them maneuverability that surprised even their original designers. "Sir," a communications officer called out, "the scout ships, they're moving closer." The enemy scouts had grown bolder, moving into the outer solar system. They were close enough now to see the repair yards, but what they saw confused them. Instead of helpless refugee ships, they found a bustling construction site guarded by strange new vessels. "Let them look," Davis ordered. "Let them see what they're up against." In the repair yards, Tom's teams worked with renewed urgency. The sight of enemy scouts pushed everyone to work even faster. Humans and Wanderers moved in perfect coordination now, each understanding their role without needing to speak. "Shield array online," someone shouted from Dock 4. "Hybrid drive stable in Dock 7. Hull reinforcement complete in Dock 2. The reports kept coming as more ships came online. Each one represented countless hours of hard work, innovation, and determination. The modified vessels no longer looked purely alien or human. They had become something new, something that represented the best of both species. Mary watched from her observation post as another ship powered up its new systems. The Wanderers around her showed colors she had never seen before, pride mixed with determination, hope combined with readiness for battle. "We never thought we'd fight back," one of them told her. "We've been running for so long, but your people showed us another way." Admiral Davis walked through the Freedom's corridors, checking on preparations. Every human ship had been modified too, incorporating Wanderer technology where possible. The combined fleet grew stronger by the hour. "Time estimate to enemy fleet arrival?" he asked during the evening briefing. 10 days, sir," his tactical officer reported. "Maybe less." Davis nodded. "And our readiness?" Tom's voice came over the comm system. 80% of critical ships complete, Admiral. We'll have the rest ready in 7 days. It won't be perfect. Perfect is the enemy of good enough." Davis interrupted with a smile. 7 days it is." The enemy scouts continued to watch, not realizing they were seeing something unprecedented. Two species working together, combining their strengths, preparing to make a stand. The race against time was reaching its final stretch. The enemy fleet arrived in a flash of light at the edge of Jupiter's orbit. 200 warships, their black hulls decorated with glowing red patterns, emerged from faster-than-light travel. They expected to find helpless refugee ships. Instead, they found themselves facing the combined Earth Wanderer defense fleet. Admiral Davis stood on the Freedom's bridge, his face calm as he studied the tactical display. "All ships, battle positions," he ordered. "Remember the plan. Let them come to us." The human Wanderer fleet had positioned itself carefully. The larger ships formed a wall in front of Jupiter, while smaller, faster vessels waited behind the planet's moons. Engineer Tom Wilson, now serving as technical advisor on the Freedom, watched the enemy's approach on his screens. "Their energy readings are exactly like the Wanderers described," he reported. "Those weapons could tear through normal shields." "Good thing we don't use normal shields anymore," Davis smiled. The enemy fleet moved closer, their formation showing their confidence. Their commander sent a message, broadcast on all frequencies: "Surrender the refugees. This is not your fight." Admiral Davis's response was simple: "They asked for our help. That makes it our fight." The first enemy shots came as bright beams of energy, aimed at the Freedom. But when they hit the hybrid shields Tom's team had created, something unexpected happened. The combination of Wanderer quantum barriers and Earth's electromagnetic fields didn't just block the attack, it scattered it. "All ships, execute Battle Plan Alpha," Davis commanded. "Show them what humans can do." The smaller Earth ships burst from behind Jupiter's moons, moving in ways that surprised the enemy. The hybrid drives Tom had designed gave them incredible speed and maneuverability. They darted between the larger enemy vessels, their simple projectile weapons proving unexpectedly effective against ships designed to defend against energy weapons. "They're splitting their formation," the tactical officer reported. "They don't know which threats to focus on." The enemy had expected to fight advanced technology with advanced technology. They weren't prepared for armor-piercing rounds mixed with quantum fields, or for ships that combined raw rocket power with space-time manipulation. On one of the modified Wanderer ships, Mary Brooks worked with the alien crew, helping coordinate between human and Wanderer tactics. "Their shields are optimized for energy weapons," she relayed to the fleet. "They're vulnerable to physical impacts." The battle spread across the Jovian system. Earth ships used Jupiter's powerful gravity to slingshot themselves at incredible speeds, turning the planet itself into a weapon. The Wanderer ships, now repaired and improved, demonstrated their own capabilities. An enemy cruiser targeted the Freedom with its main weapon. The blast would have vaporized the ship a week ago, but the hybrid shields held. The Freedom answered with a barrage that combined human missiles with Wanderer energy pulses. "Direct hit," the weapons officer shouted as the enemy ship's shields failed. Tom monitored the fleet's technical status from his station. "The hybrid drives are performing better than expected," he reported. "We're actually outmaneuvering them." The enemy commander hadn't expected this level of resistance. Their ships were more advanced, their weapons more powerful, but they were fighting an opponent who combined two different ways of thinking, two different approaches to war. "They're pulling back," someone shouted. "3 of their heavy cruisers are retreating." Admiral Davis leaned forward in his chair. "Press the advantage. Don't let them regroup." More enemy ships began to withdraw as their formation fell apart. They had come expecting to find scared refugees. Instead, they found humanity's determination combined with Wanderer technology. The battle lasted for 6 hours. When it ended, 30 enemy ships had been destroyed, and the rest had retreated. The combined fleet had losses too, but far fewer than anyone had expected. As the dust settled, Admiral Davis looked at his tactical display with pride. Human and Wanderer ships floated side by side, damaged but victorious. Engineers were already heading out to start repairs. "Send word to Earth," he ordered. "The enemy fleet has retreated. We stand victorious." Tom looked at the battle damage reports, already thinking about improvements they could make. "They'll be back," he said. "Yes," Davis agreed. "But next time we'll be even better prepared." He turned to his crew. "Send ships to collect our wounded. Today, humanity proved something to the galaxy. We protect our friends." The stars seemed a little brighter as the fleet regrouped, human and Wanderer ships working together to rescue damaged vessels. The enemy had learned an important lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous opponent isn't the one with the most advanced weapons, but the one who never gives up. 1 month after the battle, the Jupiter shipyards had transformed from a desperate repair station into a proper space dock. Human and Wanderer ships moved smoothly between the asteroids, now equipped with permanent facilities. Engineer Tom Wilson stood at the main observation window, watching as workers installed the last pieces of a new hybrid drive. "It's strange," he said to Mary Brooks, who stood beside him. "What started as emergency repairs has turned into something much bigger." The Wanderer fleet looked different now. Their ships carried the marks of human engineering. Sturdy steel reinforcing elegant alien designs, simple rocket boosters alongside quantum drives. But they were stronger than ever before. Admiral Davis's voice came over the station speakers. "All personnel report to the main assembly area." The large chamber, carved from an asteroid's heart, filled quickly with humans and Wanderers. The room buzzed with conversation in multiple languages, though most Wanderers now spoke basic English, and many humans had learned to understand the Wanderers' color speak. The Wanderer High Council, their skin shimmering with formal patterns, took the stage alongside Earth's leaders. Their chief speaker, now known as Morning Light, stepped forward. "A season ago, we were refugees with failing ships and fading hope," they said, their translator carrying the words to everyone. "We chose this system by chance, expecting to find only resources. Instead, we found something far more valuable. We found humanity." Admiral Davis stepped up next. "The hybrid technology we created together has been approved for full production. Earth's shipyards are already being modified to build vessels that combine both our sciences. But more importantly, the United Earth Council has officially recognized the Wanderer's right to establish a permanent colony in our system." Cheers erupted from the crowd. The Wanderer's skin rippled with joy colors that humans had learned to recognize and share in their own way. Tom looked at the technical readouts on his tablet. The new hybrid ships were performing beyond all expectations. Wanderer quantum science combined with human practical engineering had created something entirely new. Already, ships from other alien species were appearing at the edge of the solar system, interested in the technology that had defeated the supposedly unstoppable enemy fleet. Mary's cultural team had prepared a special presentation. On the large screens around the chamber, images showed the progress of the last few months. Humans and Wanderers working side by side, learning from each other, combining their strengths. The enemy fleet retreated to their home system. Admiral Davis continued. "Our long-range scouts report they're staying there, reconsidering their strategy. They've learned that Earth is not a target for easy conquest. More importantly, they've learned that humanity protects its friends. Morning Light's skin shifted to the deep blue of serious matters. We came here as refugees, but we leave that title behind today. With Earth's blessing, we will build our new home in the asteroid belt. Our ships will carry both our marks, and our children will learn both our ways. The first graduating class of the new Joint Space Academy stood at attention along the chamber's walls. Young humans and wanderers who had trained together, learning each other's ways of thinking, ready to crew the new hybrid ships. But our greatest achievement, Tom stepped up to speak, isn't the technology we created. It's the bridge we built between our species. Every problem we solved together made us stronger. Every challenge we faced made us more united. The ceremony concluded with the launch of the first officially commissioned hybrid vessel, the ESS Unity. Its hull bore the marks of both species, and its crew was mixed. As it powered up its new drive, the ship created a beautiful distortion in space, human and wanderer technology, working in perfect harmony. Admiral Davis watched from his office as celebration parties broke out across the station. Reports were coming in from Earth about new construction projects, cultural exchange programs, and scientific breakthroughs inspired by the collaboration. "You know," Mary said, joining him at the window, "when we first received that distress signal, we thought we were just helping refugees." Davis smiled. "Instead, we helped ourselves. The galaxy's a big place. Better to face it with friends." Outside, the hybrid ships patrolled their new shared space, their drives creating beautiful patterns against the starfield. The wanderers were no longer running, and humanity was no longer alone. Together, they had created something unique in the galaxy, a partnership based on the best qualities of both species. The stars seemed to shine brighter over Jupiter that day, as if approving of this new chapter in the story of both species. The legacy of their cooperation would echo across the galaxy for generations to come.